Isn't that what Siempre says? Vamanos.
Vámonos.
Vamanos, muchachos.
Vámonos, muchachos.
It's time. It's time. It is July 8th, 2019. This is Atlanta United FC Weekly, a Home Before Dark podcast.
Choo-choo. Don't do it, Eric. Don't put that near your mouth.
I thought about it, but I was like, nah.
Kevin does that every week. I probably shouldn't do that.
I saw it. I was like, I kind of want to blow it, but at the same time,
yeah.
I know where it's been.
I've heard that before.
I might need to turn the that camera. I don't know if I reset it or something. It's got autofocus going on, so it just keeps dipping in and out.
Great.
In and out.
The gun show for all the people.
It's the gun show.
It's going to make everyone nauseous.
I am Tim Herb, and I'm as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Mr. Kevin Bradley, the bearded one. We have another bearded one in the house, Mr. Eric Quintana of Mouths of the South, Dirty South Soccer, joining us on short notice tonight, hanging out.
Gentlemen.
Cracking open cold ones with the boys. Kevin, show everybody the spicy.
Trying to get White Claw wasted.
He's getting White Claw wasted. That's the way it goes down here. Welcome in. Thank you guys for tuning in live on YouTube, taking time out of your busy Monday night schedule, especially after the absolute overload of soccer that we got yesterday, to join us. And if you guys are not subscribed, make sure that you guys hit the subscribe button, notification bell icon. Make sure you guys know whenever we go live. Also, if you're listening to us on iTunes, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, leave us a rating and or review. We will read it live on the show. No new ratings or reviews last week. You guys are slacking.
Been slacking.
It's like the first time in like the history of Home Before Dark, right?
Basically.
Every episode I listen to is like, all right, let's listen to the reviews.
Not today. That part.
Tim the Tinkerman Taylor is going to have to mess with the camera real quick. So you guys are going to have to carry the ship.
Yeah, it was a good day yesterday. Well, in parts. I felt like
it started great.
It just went on a hard decline throughout the day.
I tweeted out at one point, it's like, please don't let the U.S. women's and fantastic for the U.S. women's national team, but I was hoping that both national teams would give us something to be happy about. U.S. women did their part, U.S. men didn't.
Yeah,
I was hoping they wouldn't be the bottom of the day in terms of soccer activities.
Yeah. It was 100% just downward spiral from the time the day started until the time it ended. The only thing that I felt like was good about the middle portion was that, just like the Chicago result, a lot of other teams struggled this week whenever Atlanta did as well. So
still in third, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we
drew
and somehow jumped up from fourth to third, which is great. But yeah, everybody struggled this past week when Atlanta lost a terrible, terrible road game to Chicago Fire on Wednesday. And then, like I said, everybody around the league kind of
1 point away from hosting
a
playoff game.
Yeah.
Like, what are we freaking out about?
Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be fine overall.
Wait.
What?
You're the guy who gave me
I didn't say
games in hand.
I didn't say that Philly was going to all of a sudden. I said that Atlanta is a 3rd through 6th team last week. That's what I said. I stand by that. I still think that they are somewhere between 3rd and 6th. It doesn't take away from the fact that we're still just shy of being 1st or 2nd, but I think ultimately we'll end up somewhere in 3rd through 6th.
Well, what helps us is that other teams are...
But remember games in hand against Chicago?
Yep.
Those are the games that my point is made in.
True, but we have to capitalize. You're right. I'll concede that, but at the same time, we have to capitalize. We still have one in hand on who the hell's in second right now?
DC.
Sorry, we have one in hand against DC. I think they've played 20 games. We've played 19, and then we have two in hand against Philly.
But no,
and
NYCFC's got 18 games in hand on everybody.
17. That's so bad.
17 games in hand, right?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it seems like. Jesus.
They're really in the best position here because they're looking at I mean, there's a huge potential swing for them.
My point, Tim, to last week was almost proven yesterday, in that if Philly wins that game yesterday against Orlando, which they were in a position to do, again, it's ifs and buts and all of that stuff. But if Philly wins that game yesterday, even with our games in hand, that conceivably removes us from the potential to jump into first, regardless of our games in hand, because we didn't capitalize on a game that we didn't even play in, it felt like, on Wednesday night. You know, those are the games that you've at least got to compete in against a team that wasn't, I mean, they were without key players. you go on the road, even with a tight schedule, tight turnaround, and all that, and you pretty much give up 10 minutes into the game.
You're talking about Atlanta United, right?
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm on the same page here because I 100% disagree. We all talk about how shorthanded Red Bulls were. Look at what Atlanta United is missing. Tito, Barco. You've got Pity, who's MIA half the match, if not more. So, I mean, you still...
Whoa, you're going to invoke the Bagransky, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, look, Atlanta United's missing their own pieces too, and enough to where you could look at Atlanta United's starting 11 and think, yeah, they're missing a lot of pieces too. We should capitalize on this road game where they're weak, they're down. We just came off the match where we laid whatever we laid against Chicago. So I mean, we're in the same, more or less the same position as Red Bulls. That's why all this freak out about losing the way we lost. Like, sure, it sucked. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the end of the world. It's not. You're still coming back. You're still going into this massive stretch of games in a relatively good position, considering you're only 2 games in.
Right. I guess the trade-off to that is that what can you pull away from those losses, aside from the fact that you're without some key players that don't answer things that were ultimately the shortcoming in those matches, which is the defense right now, and especially the left back position, because there's no missing solution on the Atlanta United defense that's going to fix those issues. I will completely agree with you as it relates to Tito and Barco and a missing Pity here and there. But Atlanta United, aside from the Chicago game, they clearly put up some goals, some quality goals against New York Red Bulls team at home, even with Red Bulls missing some key players there. But defensively, this team has been lacking incredibly since the international break.
Look, I can make excuses for him. You lose Pogba 12 minutes into the match. You don't have LGP, who knows what the last minute of the match is when you have LGP, a guy like that in there. You put Parkhurst in kind of he's still stretching as he's running out onto the field.
Absolutely.
It's just not the greatest of circumstances. That's why I'm not as panicky as I think some other people are, because I'm willing to give it's been enough time. I'll say that. But I will consider this specific moments against the Red Bulls to finish the game a one-off.
Now, let's not say
Chicago Fire, it's its own little firestorm.
Right. Well, right. And it was like that way around the league. Everybody loses those kinds of matches. And I don't want to lend any credence to panicking or anything like that. I'm not panicking in any regards. I think that, again, this team is a solid upper middle of the table team. If this team was a first or second team, I'd expect them to capitalize and be able to showcase some sort of a performance, even with some missing players. That's all I'm saying.
Yesterday, I was listening to Soccer Down Here, and one thing is, take away how the game. I like this point that was made. You take away how the game went down, everything that went down going into it. Are you happy or content with a 3-3 draw against Red Bulls? Knowing the history of this team, knowing that we had in the regular season, we are 0-1-4 against them.
When do I have to make that decision? Whenever I saw the lineup announced, or just before kickoff? Like,
I think just during
2
the week.
days before?
During the week, yeah. If I tell you we're going to get a draw out of this game.
After Chicago Fire?
Yeah.
I would have taken it 100%.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that. But at the same time, you've got the return of Joseph, who makes a clear statement about his return, getting the brace in that game. And I think at least I thought that Barco may be healthy by the time of that game. So from that standpoint, kind of goes back to what we were talking about, knowing who and how Red Bulls would most likely come out and what I expected Atlanta United to come out with. I would expect at least potentially a win. It's not to say that a draw is disappointing, a 3-3 draw, but I'm just saying with those key pieces, with how much we've put stock in those players being out.
Yeah.
I'm not disappointed in a draw against the Red Bulls, but I sure as shit would like a win, especially whenever you're in a position to do so.
Yeah, you can be in a position. You can be upset about how it finished. But
exactly.
I'm not all that mad because look, up until the last 3 minutes, and I know it's a 90 plus whatever stoppage time is game, but up through all that time until that last goal happens, you were going to win that game.
Oh, absolutely.
And you switched off for a second, and again, exclude the Chicago Fire game because to me that's a one-off. You switched off for a second, and you end up taking a point where you could have taken 3. But to me, I thought the 3-2 win would have been a great result. Obviously, I thought it would have been a fair result. I kind of think that the 3-3 draw is an even fair result,
especially because of the officiating and everything else behind the scenes.
Kevin, you talk for a second. I got to mute Eric. I'm going to do something. I'm going to move the camera just keeps autofocusing. It's driving me nuts.
That's why Tim, it's your it's your biceps. It can't fit it into frame. That's really what it is.
Let's see does that help things?
No, it definitely didn't. It's great.
I think it just might be
perfect.
Something with a camera right now.
But yeah, coming off of the Chicago game, to your point, I agree. A point's a point. It jumped us a point, or it jumped us a place in the standings. That's not too much to be upset about. We went from 4th to 3rd, and that's great. We're in a position to jump into 2nd or 1st if we capitalize on the games in hand, and that's awesome. But we've got to do that, and we've got to actually produce results. And this team has been very hit or miss since the international break, and I completely agree. It's because of missing components and missing parts and pieces. But if you're going to be the team that Atlanta United was last year, Atlanta United, and I hate that argument keeps coming up because this isn't the same fucking team. But at the same time, if you're going to be a team like past or what LAFC is doing this year or whatever, you've got to be able to survive even without those key players in every single fucking week. That's just what you've got to be able to do. It's a very long season. Atlanta United knew they were going to have a long season, longer than any other team in the league, arguably, based on CCL and Open Cup and Campeones Cup and everything else, All-Star game, whatever you want to throw at it. It's a long season, and your depth is going to be tested. And if you're going to be the best in the league or best in the conference, you've got to be able to win those games even without those pieces.
My bigger concern, more than anything, about what happened last night in terms of the from the team perspective, in terms of Atlanta United conceding the last goal and ultimately coming away with a point, is how Pity is going to affect the future of this season, whether he's on or off. Because I can't wrap my head around how he's going to fit moving forward.
So aside from getting into talking tactics or anything like that, it just knee-jerk reaction. All of Atlanta United squad's healthy. You got healthy Tito, healthy Barco, healthy Joseph,
Justin Merrim,
healthy everybody, healthy everybody.
Yeah.
Do you play Pity?
No.
No. Do you play Pity?
Yeah.
No, I don't think you do either. Gressel's not really helping his cause right now.
No, he's not.
To play on that right wing. But I think my front four, if that's really what we're arguing, right, is front four.
No, I'm just arguing out, just flat out. Do you start Pity if everybody's healthy?
I think you need context to what that starting four probably is, right? Joseph obviously up front, left side. I think Justin Merrim, to me, over the past few weeks, has proven himself.
Slotting Barco into the 10?
Yes.
Okay.
And then putting Tito over on the right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's what I got. Agreed.
Yeah.
Man, it happens. Like Barco got sat last year before disciplinary reasons, right? I mean, there were times where adjustment is hard to make and I'm not slighting Pity Martinez at all.
No,
it's a hard adjustment to make coming into this league, coming from wherever you were at home, playing in your home country, playing for your boyhood club. You're playing in a league that plays differently than MLS, and the schedule is different. You're homesick, everything. You're playing with a new manager, new set of tactics, and the onus has been placed so hard on the burden on his back for the season based off of his transfer record or transfer fee that it's been unfair. And I hate to say it because players, there's always that argument, they're professionals, they should live up to their wage, but at the same time, you got to give the guy time to adjust. In the same way that I feel like people are finally, well, I don't know now, but we're finally giving Frank de Boer time to settle in.
Yeah. I'm glad that conversation's over, by the way.
Is it?
I hope so. But we haven't heard much of it yet.
Or lately. It's just you've muted all of them at this point.
No, my bigger deal is that, look, this is the same guy who you can't come into a league like MLS and essentially not show up as of yet. And I know he had one moment last night where he obviously gets the assist. But look, to me, Pity is a worse version of 2017 Tito. Yeah, and you guys know how much I did not like 2017 Tito.
You've written him off for the past 2 years because of it.
No, this year I'm fine with him. He's not a DP. I'm cool.
That's not what you were saying before the show.
Oh, come on. But no, you can't get signed by Atlanta United, then go to the not go to the media, but then be asked by the media about projects in Europe. Tell them how much you'd rather be in Europe and how no one wanted me and how you feel essentially disrespected. And then you come to MLS and Atlanta United and you essentially have done nothing.
You've done nothing to improve that resume. And the funny thing is that I don't know how this stuff works. Maybe you two can enlighten me. He's essentially kind of held hostage until Atlanta United signs or sells him, right? Like he can't just
as long as Atlanta United doesn't sign him, he's here until his contract is up.
Right. Which is how long?
I want to say at least 4 years.
Exactly. So he's stuck here. Like if he wants to play in Europe, by the time he leaves here,
he's got to buckle up, man.
I mean, he'd be, how old is he now? 20?
He's got to take a page out of the book of the Kyle Larin negotiation
How old is he? 20? He's 22?
I think he's 27.
Yeah, holy shit. I didn't realize he was that old.
He's 27.
Yeah, I want to say he's 25. I want to say he was 24 whenever he got signed. Unless I'm crazy.
So either way, he's 24 or 25.
I think
4
he's 25,
years
yeah.
Conceivably, he's at the end of his career.
26.
So
He's
if
26,
okay. 26, he's definitely at the end of his career.
You could pop that mic back up. We fixed the auto.
He's at the MLS stage of his career after 4 years, let's say. So it's either if he wants to fucking play in Europe, he's got to start showing something to further his resume and doing something to beholden himself to clubs that are willing to pay the price tag that Atlanta United's going to release him for. Or he's got to resign himself to being in this league for the rest of his career.
I don't think that's the case. I think you can always cry your way out of a contract. I think that it definitely is going to tarnish his reputation. I don't see that happening, though. That's the thing. Like, we're talking about hypotheticals here. That look at the way Barco is shining now. I mean, whenever he's playing, obviously.
Look at Carlos Vela.
Carlos Vela.
He didn't have much of it. What I'm saying is last year, he didn't have some.
He played well the first half of the season. I think he tailed off towards the end, but I think that's kind of always been his shtick abroad.
Look at Yamil Assad.
Yamil Assad is.
Shall we? Shall we look at Yamil Assad? I mean, right now, especially. No, I'm just kidding.
He wanted to cry his way onto the team, didn't he?
Dude, he's trying to like his way. He's trying to Twitter like his way into a contract with somebody right now.
Are we talking about Pogba now too?
Jeez. What's funny is everybody's posting a screenshot of Yamil Assad liking their tweet about coming to their team between Atlanta and DC, and I think it started with Atlanta United, and everybody's like,
start doing sprints through Central Park in an Atlanta United kit and build some hype.
Oh God. But yeah, in terms of PD, I'm still not worried. I think the biggest thing now is probably tempering expectations and also taking some of the focus away from him on the field, because we've talked about it before. I think part of the thing that makes his lack of production really pronounced is just how much the team plays through him. And just
also how slow he is. He has no pace on the ball, which makes it look like he has no desire to run.
It almost looks like he's not trying.
He was in a full sprint on the left wing yesterday, and it looked like he was just on a brisk walk. Like he just got beat because he has no pace on the ball whatsoever, it seems like.
I'm truly curious to what, to put it in American sports term, what his 40 time is.
Yeah.
I want to know what that number is and how compared to other guys in the team. He's like not even guys that aren't even that fast, like Jeff Lorenowitz or Rometty, or guys like that who are just average speed.
He's like Tyler, basically. He's got some good footwork, but
nobody knows who Tyler is.
It's like our buddy Tyler.
Our boy Tyler McLeod, who played high school ball with, who had he had magnet feet. You know, the guy that you can't get the ball off of, no matter what, just a little bit of space.
Or what was
but he also looked like a turtle when he was running.
Right. What was I forget what the name of the
control the damn ball.
The old non-flashy black and white Adidas cleats.
Copas.
The Copas. He wore Copas. I saw a meme a couple weeks ago. It was like, anytime a guy rolls up from your high school wearing these, you knew you was about to break your ankle.
It's true though, man.
Yeah.
It's true. It's absolutely true. In terms of, I'm thinking we start seeing PD sit a little more.
So I was going to say, much like Barco last year, I think you find a way to get him off the bench late in matches or find a way to essentially reinstall him into the team. The problem is I don't know even what that looks like. Imagine bringing him in the 75th minute, but to do what?
Yeah.
To stay up top and play next to and next to Joseph. At least Barco, when he came in last year, in those moments, he knew I got to play better. I got to work my ass off so that I can, not only do well for this team, but find another team eventually in the future. I got to eventually be sold. I don't want to be here forever. But what does that look like for Pity? And Barco came in, ran his ass off, hustled, and now we're seeing. Hopefully, these are what the fruits of the labors of that look like.
Right.
But what does that look like for Pity?
Yeah.
How do you bring him in the 75th, 80th minute, and to do what?
Well, especially because you look at a player like Tito, who we've consistently been like, yeah, he's a fucking
guy.
difference maker as a sub. I don't know that Pity's that guy. And I don't think that Atlanta United can afford to sit him entirely.
Look, I mean, they can afford it. I mean, they've got, maybe not right now in the second, but once all the pieces come back, they've got enough depth to where they can sit Pity and really force him to hopefully look at how he's playing with Atlanta United, and really ask him to contribute more than what he's contributed so far. And look, again, he had one good moment against the Red Bulls, but that
was more of Justin Merrim's moment too.
I mean, it was a good pass. I'm not gonna.
It was, but the cut in was
sure.
what made that. Yeah.
Well, my favorite part about that is that you have a link-up play between the $15 million signing and a guy that is the newest signing to the team for a fraction of the cost, and it surpasses the goal result of the $15 million signing with that play.
My problem becomes is that his contribution aren't affecting games to the point where Man United's winning because
not
of
at
him.
all. Not at all.
That's my issue. You spent all this money on him to be the game changer. Maybe not the same way that Almiron was, but you did expect something more out of a guy that you're paying this much money for, and you're not getting that. Sure, you're getting average MLS play.
Right.
He looks like an average MLS player.
He does.
Minus the speed.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Go to the trap for a minute. We have a new face in here, a couple new faces. I think Eric's bringing some of the people, but
it's not him. It's
Hoot.
body.
We got
really.
H Huss in here. I think from other comments, I think Italian saying loving the Lazio scarf in the background. It's a nice call out. Brian is saying the thing is that PD is doing almost exactly what he was doing with River. So what does that mean? I mean, what does that mean for us? I mean,
that was going to be the next comment. It's like, how does he improve? Because he's not going to just get faster overnight, right? It's got to be something that's going to change in the tactics.
You jump rope enough, you're going to get faster, I promise.
Okay,
get those double unders down.
Okay, CrossFit.
Jenna Singleton, another new face in the trap, saying, let's remember, and this is the most annoying part, Barco wasn't sold to us as the quote-unquote South American Player of the Year, which I now believe is an award that got printed at Kinko's.
I don't know what that means anymore. Yeah, Look, at River, he had a team, and I heard it on Soccer Down here too. At River, he had a team that was built around him.
Yeah.
That's not the case here. He was implanted into a team that was already essentially built, and he was supposed to be the link-up guy, and he just hasn't become that.
I honestly think he's just going to be kind of the...
I truly want to go back and look at every game last year from River and see how exactly he was played, how he contributed.
Please report
to the team.
back on that, because I
don't even as a team like River, I don't know how you would look at this guy right now.
Yeah,
and think, yeah, let's add him.
Yeah,
I just don't. I don't see it. I don't get that. That's also not on Frank DeBoer. That's not on any of the coaching staff. That's on the front office if he doesn't pan out.
No,
remember that.
It's on whoever made those highlight reels is what it's really on. Because those people didn't watch all those games either. They saw some YouTube clips. It was like, oh, damn, look at this guy.
Fuck you, Scout Nation.
I could probably stitch together enough of those moments for Atlanta United. But consistent play, I don't know if I can.
It's too early to say he's not panning out, but if he doesn't pan out, just remember whose shoulders that falls on.
Right.
It's not Frank DeBoer. It's not the team. It's not the player himself. It's the front office, unfortunately. We don't have a lot of negative stuff to say. I'm not saying this is a negative yet, but we don't have a lot of negative stuff to say about Darren Eales, Carlos, and everyone else involved in the scouting decisions. But
I will never say a bad thing about Darren Eales.
Well, I don't want to.
Did you see him come? Did you see him come correct on the bet about?
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
The U.S. beating England?
No, I didn't see it.
He had to come in with like full old school like
an English judge,
George Washington wig on.
That's pretty amazing.
And serve tea and biscuits to everybody.
Scones. I think scones.
That's pretty amazing.
Brought him out in like a little cart and everything.
That's pretty great.
Every great front office makes bad signings.
Sure.
100%.
I mean, we make a lot of moves. The thought that every single one of them is going to be a home run.
Look at what we did whenever you guys signed me.
Especially in a league like MLS where you have to every year in and year out make a lot of moves. They're going to miss on some.
Yeah. Mouths of the South has Josh Bagaransky.
Boom.
Before Dark has me. Atlanta United has Pity Martinez.
You know who else? You know who else Atlanta United has? and that probably should have played yesterday instead of Mikey Ambrose?
Who?
A big, tall, gangly giraffe by the name of Breck Shea.
Yeah.
What? I don't understand.
Hindsight's 2020 in that.
Hindsight is not
for
2020.
me. It is
What-
for
what-
me. It is because I was on the bandwagon of I think Ambrose should at least get a shot at left back.
Why?
I don't know that should have been the first game he goes back to.
Okay, maybe that's
I think
the problem.
maybe U.S. Open Cup.
Okay,
Get your
I'll
feet
give you
back
that.
under you. He must have been really showing out practice because he did not show it yesterday.
no, he did not.
I don't know. He hasn't shown anything on the field this year because the only time he was put into the game was against Columbus and playing right wing back.
Oh yeah, he looked
which is weird.
shit in that game.
But at the same time, what has I mean, if you're talking defensively, if that's we're trying to cover defensively, not trying to create offense on that left back position right now, right? I mean, what has I don't understand, man.
I'm looking at Elliot Bevan in the chat. Shea needs rest for Wednesday. This is the game that you rested for.
Yeah.
The one last night was the one you rested for.
Yeah,
The one last night is where you wanted your strongest 11 because you knew
Oh, yeah.
you were walking into.
Oh yeah,
Dude, you had to
Inside
strike
Mercedes-Benz
fear
Stadium.
into our it's funny. It's like people say Orlando's not a rivalry because it's not competitive.
No, I
Red
like
Bulls are
the
real.
Sean Mack tweet. It's like the Orlando City, and it had the mode selection screen from like Super Nintendo, and it had easy mode, and then New York Red Bulls is selected hard.
I think that's actually a fair assessment, but I feel like it's the same people that'll say, well, DC and New York Red Bulls are our real rival. Well, if you're talking about competitively, like we have really not shown out at all against Red Bulls.
No.
In terms, like we're one,
Especially this season.
Tito likes
Yeah.
to remind us of the one match
Outside
that
of
did matter.
Yes,
yeah,
that's true.
exactly. I was going to
The one
say.
match that did
I was gonna
matter.
say.
Good for him, by the way.
2-4. What'd you say?
I was going to say the one game that it did matter,
Oh.
which was the Eastern Conference
Yeah.
Finals, but yeah.
Anyway, yeah, you're right though. I mean, that was the game we could have struck fear. We could have. You know what? I'm not worried about St. Louis. You know, if we lose to them, I think that's an aberration. But like, we could play a lesser squad against St. Louis and probably come out of that game victoriously on Wednesday.
To your point, both your points kind of, do you give Mikey Ambrose a second trot out to try to maybe fix some of the issues from the last game? Also, second follow-up point,
wait,
does anybody have a report on George Bello at this point?
Wait, on Wednesday?
He
Yeah.
shook.
Huh?
He shook from the Herediano game. Still shook.
It's still shook. No, you don't play. You're talking about. Are you asking if you trot out Mikey Ambrose on Wednesday?
Yeah.
No.
Why?
Because of giving up.
So you've
essentially,
written him off entirely because of one game.
for the time being. Yes.
So why didn't you do that for Breck Shea after the first game?
Because which game?
I guess not the first game. The Monterey loss, let's say.
Because I don't know. That's the best.
Well, I don't know because I like him right now because he's had a chance to make up for it.
Okay, whatever.
I'm just saying. I don't disagree with you that Breck Shea has earned a rotation in that position. I agree.
And you know who he rotates with? Michael Parkhurst, not Mikey Ambrose.
Michael Parkhurst right now,
One game.
It's been one game.
two.
But
Throw the Chicago Fire game out the window.
Oh, now we're throwing games out the window. Well, then let's throw out the one game from New York Red Bulls where Mikey Ambrose didn't perform, and I'll pick one from last year whenever he did. In that case,
Look, I would say what depending on because I mean
this is a weird hill to die on.
I'm not dying on it. I'm just saying we need depth in that position.
I give my life to you, Mikey Ambrose.
Well, I mean, I would say that it depends on what your plans are for Sunday. Because if you're planning on really attacking the wings on Sunday, I think I would rather have Breck Shea in on Sunday against Seattle and not have Ambrose in that game. Probably a more important game.
100% agree.
Look, it's not that Ambrose is a bad player. He just didn't have a good game, and it was a tough opponent anyway.
Yeah,
So put him back in there.
that's my point.
build
That's
his-
all I'm trying to say.
I would consider it just depending on how he does in practice.
Where the hell is Jose Hernandez?
I don't know. How much footage have you watched of Jose Hernandez?
Enough to know that he makes more
That's always the straw man argument. It's like, we've got him. Why not play him?
That was the argument for Mikey Ambrose.
Mikey Ambrose actually had experience over the past 2 seasons where I could say,
So
okay, he was serviceable at left
I
back
don't
whenever McCann wasn't in or Greg Garza, and we had to depend on him.
I don't know where the tweet is right now, but somebody was like, he was getting bodied in in USL, like Mikey Ambrose. Like he was struggling against USL competition.
Well, whenever people like Jeff Larentowicz want to go up there and
say that again,
Larentowicz want to go up there and shove him out of the celebration, it's just rude.
It truly has hit him hard.
It truly has. Are you gonna mix that?
Truly.
Are you gonna mix that? It should say spiked and spicy. Put that in with your bourbon.
Don't tempt me.
Like a bourbon and grapefruit.
No,
you know that classic drink.
It sounds like cough syrup.
That's like
no, I'm not doing that.
And then brush your teeth afterwards. Or brush your teeth and then drink it.
Mm.
And then see your life flash before your eyes.
They're like Hopper and Stranger Things. Started rewatching season
hey,
1.
Whoa.
No, season 1, bros.
Okay. I haven't even seen season 2 yet.
I haven't.
All right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm making.
I
am making a season 1 point because I started going back and rewatching it, and he's brushing his teeth. Then he starts smoking a cigarette, takes a drink out of the PBR. I'm like, oh, that makes me sick to my stomach.
He just copied Vince Vaughn in dodgeball, right? Whenever Vince Vaughn was swishing with Yoo-Hoo.
I don't care what he copied. He's my spirit animal now.
Except for whenever he played Hellboy.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I don't think that's on him though.
I think he's gained 80 pounds since the first season, by the way.
It's all those egos. Well,
spoilers. I don't even get that reference.
Anything else? Anything to take away from the Chicago game? Any positives?
Apparently not. Eric's thrown it out. And you can take what you want to out of it. If it lends credence to your argument, whatever it may be, which is a lack of depth and a lack of players, so it doesn't really matter that you lost. But if you want to make the point about some player and what they could be, no, just throw that game out altogether.
Tyrone Mears. Heard he's coming back.
Let's do it.
Stop it. Not even funny.
What sucks is like the two hardest positions to fill with a consistently good player, or the two fullback positions. I feel like, and especially in MLS, it's just going to be impossible. Like those always, like we were doing the offside trap in every single episode. What weakness would you say? What
left back 100% of the time?
I expect you guys to attack up the wing on the right side because our left back sucks.
And
like, what does every single
and the funny thing is because most of the league and most players are predominantly right-footed. I mean, you do obviously are a lot of talented left-footed players, but most teams are heavily weighted on the right wing because of that, and it's always a deficiency in every defense. But
yeah, it just sucks for us.
You need to have somebody serviceable, at least.
It sucks for everybody not named LAFC. Can we talk about that for a second?
What did you find out what their goal differential was? Is it plus 45 at this point?
I think it's 11.
Stupid.
Take another drink of White Claw.
Wait. Oh, shit.
You've just been drinking White Claw. I actually swapped them out before we started.
I was
your regular LaCroix with White Claw.
You know what's awesome is I drink the Kroger kind, and I had the blackberry citrus last week, and Ryan Mellick commented on the YouTube video just blackberry citrus. Like he could see enough to know he drinks enough of it, and I thought that was amazing. Hold on, goal differential for LAFC. It's going to be something stupid. I think it is.
What do you think it is? I think it is plus 42.
I'm going to set the goal differential at.
I don't know. I'm
going to set it at 35.5. Do you think it's over?
Over.
Is it really that high?
It's over.
Oh my god.
It's 100% over.
I was going to say something like 40.
I think it's 42.
You're both wrong. It's under. It's 34 goals.
It's still stupid.
That's still stupid. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Especially how many games have they played?
They have played 19 games, the same as us.
It's over 2
they're
goals
us
a game.
from last year.
Over 2 goals a game.
Good for them.
Carlos Vela going to break the record, right?
At this rate,
he stays healthy. Is there any reason to believe that he's not going to break Joseph's record?
Not at all.
Look, eventually, you take a dip in terms of, because I mean, same thing happened with Joseph.
Yeah.
As soon as he got the record, it was like pressure's off, and not that he didn't feel like he needed to score anymore, but that the ones that came after that, it took a while. So at some point, there's going to be a momentary kind of dip in goal scoring production, not production in regards to his play, but the chances are going to miss. He's going to be not necessarily in bad form, but it's going to come off his foot wrong. At some point, I mean, if it continues, he's going to absolutely destroy that record, which is going to be amazing that we have back-to-back years where that record's broken.
And potentially,
I'm not even going to be mad. I'll be like, dude, impressive.
I mean, I don't know what their points per game are for, could they potentially break Red Bull's Supporter Shield point total?
So 43 divided by 19. They're at 2.26 points per game. You take into
See, they're the team to beat, and they're going to get screwed because of the 1-game playoff system.
Yeah,
that everything's changed to. They're gonna get screwed.
They definitely
they're
will.
gonna get screwed.
Right
they're
now,
setting themselves up to absolutely get screwed in whatever first round game they
So
play.
I'm going to ask. Elliot Beaven points out that they've lost to both Vancouver and Colorado.
Yeah, well, that Colorado game, wasn't that the night of craziness with the Atlanta United loss to Chicago? I'm pretty sure that was Wednesday, right?
It was June 28th. So
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the same? No, that was the week before. It was the weekend before.
It was the weekend before.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. You can point those out, and those are obviously bad losses. But the point, you don't know what the circumstance. I don't know what the circumstances are around those games. I don't know what was going on.
They probably started Mikey Ambrose at left back, and
in terms of injuries, and
should have started Breck Shea. That's probably what it was.
Maybe that's one night where they don't play well. Maybe they're not used to playing at altitude. I don't know. Like
they don't have games in hand.
They don't think about that. There's a number of reasons they could have lost that game.
They have 2 games in hand. So get out of my face.
All right. So, can we all agree that Atlanta United is not performing to what we would hope that they would be performing at midway through the season?
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Can we all agree on that? I mean, let's to your point, let's throw out the Chicago game. Let's even throw out the Red Bulls game. Let's throw out, let's even go back to the lineup that they put out against.
You don't have to throw out the Red. I just know I'm going to get heat for that if I
no.
Anything.
I got it.
You don't have to throw out the Red Bulls game because you still got a point from it.
No,
I
agree.
It was still you still got 3 goals. Like it's not nothing.
Right.
It just didn't turn out at the very end in your favor. And I know that's sort of become a trend lately when it comes to close games.
But again, let's just look at what this team has been when challenged with a depth issue, which has really only reared its head through this international break in Open Cup play. And you look at a team that had to trot out a lineup against Charleston Battery, which wasn't obviously a starting lineup, far removed from a starting lineup, I'll agree, that has more players removed from what those key personnel groupings were than we've seen in any of the MLS play. But still, against a very much inferior Charleston Battery team that ended up having to go to extra time to secure a win, that ends up pulling out a win at Columbus in another fucking monsoon. Can we just get a dry game against them, for the love of God? But again, since the international break, even with the deficiencies in the lineup and in depth, that isn't performing to what we saw going into that, regardless of what those players were. There's still enough of it that it's not a completely different team. So if we can all agree that they're not performing, what do you think is going to make the difference, and what do you think changes that approach? What does this team need to do to right the ship? Because even as much as we can say that there's a lot of things that aren't working, I think that a lot of positive things have come out of that we can also all agree on, like the emergence of Justin Miram over the past few games, even with unfortunate results, has had great performances against the Red Bulls and the likes of Montreal just a couple of games ago.
You've got like kind of the coming up of Dion Pereira a little bit.
Absolutely.
Who look, if Justin Miram isn't as hot as he is right now, he's probably
100%
on that left side. You don't have Barco. Let's see how Justin and Barco get at it once they're both on the field. You throw in Tito in the final 30 minutes or so of a match. Maybe you're not worried as much about the last 10 minutes because whatever, 3 minutes, whatever it was, because you've got Red Bull so stretched out back and forth shooting Tito up the field. There's a lot of everyone saw the result, everyone witnessed the result, and then just to me it was like, oh, motherfucking DeBoer.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Motherfucking pity, whatever.
And that fixes the offensive issues, though.
Yeah, there's a sure. But stretching out teams like that, it's going to help defensively. Again, you didn't have LGP.
That's a great point.
I'm not really going to talk crap about I think that moment I will kind of put on DeBoer, because there's no way, and I'll steal this from Josh. There's no way you should be outnumbered in the box in the last 2-3 minutes of the match.
No.
There's no way.
And how many times has Atlanta United done this?
How many times have Atlanta United faced that?
You
mean, should just by knowing your opponent, you should know what to do.
Mike Conti tweeted that out? Like the total points that Atlanta United has just left on the field in goals scored past the 85th minute? It's ridiculous.
So what is playing soccer, watching soccer for so long?
That's not us, dude. I don't know if you heard, but sometimes people don't watch soccer, still like to talk about it.
Just want to set the record straight. It was not about you guys. That was not about you guys.
That's some real cuckery right there.
It is. It is.
When are you most going back all the times you played soccer, watch soccer? When are you most vulnerable in giving up a goal? Right after you score, right?
Oh, every time, yeah.
There's
right after the
half.
half.
There's a reason the keeper yells, "Turn and look!" in amateur, like playing pickup or playing rec league or playing high school ball.
You're riding that high rather than getting centered when the other team is just focused on
Everybody got
responding.
caught so flat-footed on that last goal. From Mikey Ambrose to Parkhurst probably could have covered ground better, and then Miles Robinson was kind of left on.
He was left on an island. Doesn't even really make a play on the ball. And
he doesn't. Yeah.
Brad Guzan ends up getting a one-on-one, which Brad seems to be off of his game lately. I think he's been in his head a lot in that Chicago game.
He saved a pretty crucial goal yesterday. Pretty crucial shot yesterday.
I will say the last few matches have been like reminiscent of his time at Middlesbrough because
dude, him getting megged in that second goal against Chicago, I was like, what the fuck?
I heard people talk about how your hole has walls on it in it, Brad, but that you can't blame Brad if the goal's being scored or being scored from 2 feet away. Like that's not on Brad.
Right.
Couple things. So in your asking of whether or not you're disappointed or if Atlanta United is where you think they would be at this point of the season, Joe Johnstone says that no, I think they're on par with my expectations. New system, new manager.
Agreed.
Dean Worley says, well, I think we're playing about where we should. I don't feel it is reasonable to not expect this kind of season after coach change, adding players, losing Almiron, etc. He said it's a bit unfair, just to continue, a bit unfair to the team to expect a season close to what we had last year. I think that's absolutely accurate.
I think we have the same season we had in 2017. We just have expectations to go along with it.
Yeah.
No, we're essentially in the same spot we were in year one. It just, now that we've won MLS Cup,
we are that's a perfect comparison. Year one,
we're in the same
absolutely,
place.
just not last year. And if not, we might be a little bit better than year one.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually are, because year
Depending on how you
one,
want to look at it,
year one, we end up having to coast by to just get to a wild card, essentially, game against Columbus. But we're definitely not last year's team. I didn't expect to be last year's team. And I think that this team, again, I stand by that fact. I think that what I originally set out as a goal for us to be somewhere between 4th and 7th, I stand by the fact we're now somewhere between 3rd and 6th.
First or bust.
You're still 6 points. What is it? 6 points out of first place? Like,
no, not even. No, I think we're 3 points out of first place.
No.
I think
Philly's
Philly's at
tied.
36. Yeah.
They won and then they tied.
It's
They beat
36,
Orlando
31,
Wednesday. Well, they beat Orlando Wednesday.
If we win in both games to make up the
Oh, okay, true. Yeah.
No, I'm just talking theoretically.
I know.
we would be ahead on wins because we would be
Right.
at 11 wins. They're at 10, I think.
Yeah.
I
agree. But you've got to
look, even with
you got to pick those games that you're going to end up capitalizing on, and the games that you capitalize games in hand on are the games like the Chicago game. Like, I hope, and I can at least throw that one out, if Atlanta United can capitalize on those games whenever they do have a full healthy lineup, which is just a few weeks away, if not less. It's not long before our rotation is completely healthy, but it's going to be tested because there's still games on the table if they advance out of this Wednesday's game in Open Cup play against St. Louis. You're going to conceivably bring out a starting lineup for any finals that come out of that. You're going to have a starting
quarterfinal, right? Then the semifinal.
Right.
Yeah. So
right. You're going to bring out a starting lineup in the semis and in the final. If you get that far, that's going to be extra games that these players have to play. You've got the All-Star game that the players are going to have to play. I mean, it's not going to get any easier. And I think, Tim, didn't you pull up last week? What is it? 7 or 10 out of our remaining 17 games, more than half. I think it was 10 out of our 17 remaining are against teams in playoff position.
Yeah, I think it might be more than that at this point.
Yeah, so over half of your games are against teams that you've just got to play to maintain, much less win to gain anything out of with your games in hand.
Okay, we have one voicemail in the hopper, And it says it's a very serious question I see from the transcript. So
Did you even get it plugged in yet?
I'm just going to put it up to the microphone.
Attaboy.
Do it old school.
Attaboy.
And
Cool. This is
man,
great.
Google Voice is just the best.
This is good.
It never fails.
You guys
there we
got
go.
your
Speaker.
fancy technology.
Yeah. Look, we don't have radio play. Can you turn it up? Turn my headphones up.
That we haven't really talked about all season long. I've just been thinking about it quite a bit lately. How sexy do you think Frank de Boer is? I mean, think about it. He's Dutch. He's got 2 different colored eyes.
Does he really? I haven't noticed that.
His face when he's angry, pretty hot, right? I mean, he's got blunt honesty. Did you hear after the Chicago game when he's talking about how we're players at halftime? They needed to show some more balls to get back in the match, and they just weren't really into it. I mean, pretty hot. I'll hang up and let you guys talk about it. Bye.
I don't even know what to say about that. Ooh. I think I feel like I need to open the door.
Now,
I mean, you talk about White Claws, but that dude's carrying a can with him to every game. I've seen it. Did you see you see him walking into that game?
No, it's more like that.
Nah, it's full White Claw, dude. Look at that.
There it is right now. A monument to Frank de Boer on our table.
I mean, look, if I had to, I don't even care what they do on the field. If you had to choose between Tata and de Boer just based on looks, it's not even a competition, right?
Did you see Tata last night? He's looking stressed. He's looking a little gray in the hair.
Oh yeah, he's looking a little thin in the hair.
I was like, where did your
looking a little Kevin in the hair?
It was
A little fine line
ago.
A little fine line
6
between.
months ago, you were fine. What
It might have
happened?
been all those dark red and black colors he was wearing. That
It hid it all away.
white tracksuit doesn't really hide much.
The
Darren walks up to him. Hey, gray is not one of our colors. You gotta you gotta get rid of it.
you say thin, I say feathered and lethal. Because his little mullet looked feathered and lethal last night.
Can we? Speaking of balls, can we talk about
Yes.
Jeff real quick?
Yeah.
He went full Big Show. Full Big Show last night.
I was like, wait, what? Yeah, Jeff,
Dude, full Vader mode. Just great.
I've never I don't know what happened at home or what happened in the locker room or what happened in the halftime, but my gosh, he came out and he was ready to go.
Oof. Yeah, he was
ready
hot.
to rumble.
He was hot.
I don't. Also, I heard Jason Longshore. I'll call him out. You guys can tweet at him. Go ahead. Let's start something between the podcast.
Yes, dude.
Don't downplay what he did and say that the player flopped or half flopped or anything like that. That or the red card. This is exactly what we want out of MLS matches.
You see that WWE's been hyping the match against Sting and Undertaker finally? I'm being completely
How
serious
old
right
are these
now.
guys?
And Jar Jar Binks was trending on Twitter. It's been a day for me. Completely unrelated.
It's been a real whirlwind.
Another round.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. So Angie and I were driving back from Wilmington yesterday. So I was watching the game on the phone.
Turning into Red Hulk.
Yeah, he was. He definitely turned into Ross. What is Thaddeus Ross?
No, Rick Ross.
Rick Ross.
That's what it was.
Yes, the Teflon Don. Yeah, watching that replay, there was not a whole lot of. Definitely didn't make a meal of that.
No.
There was some force behind that choke slam.
Look, sure.
I'm not mad at him for doing it. I thought it was pretty awesome. But
I heard Jason talk about how he like half flopped and it wasn't all that much of a push. Are you kidding? Jeff went full on WWE on his ass. Like, went full on, throw him over the ropes. Like what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I heard that. I was like, come on, man. You know that's not true. You know Jeff went in there with the mindset of I'm gonna go fuck some shit up.
Yeah, he was ready to
happens.
go. I think everybody on that team was ready to go by the end of that game.
The more surprising part is that they reviewed that and didn't give him a red card for that. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what did you look at?
Well, yeah. The other thing I will say, the commentators yesterday, obviously you guys were at the stadium, but
Well, he was impressed. So was he really?
yeah.
All right.
If an
All right.
if an Eric Quintana cheers in the press box, was he really there? It's kind of one of those things.
No, he gets kicked out.
Exactly.
I really should, just to give you a sense of what it does look like in the press. I'm gonna do this next game. I'm gonna see if I can find a moment where we score and just to show the reaction in the press box when we score, because it's the funniest thing watching no one cheer. We all it's this. And for everyone in the chat, it's this is a great impression of what happens. So we're watching. Score. Start typing. Honestly, that's exactly what it looks like. Score.
I hate the internet.
That sounds awful.
The internet.
I mean, inside we're all going nuts, but on the outside, you got to keep it together.
There's not a chance. Not
No.
a chance in the world.
No.
I
lost my shit whenever Joseph scored that header.
But no, the color
Something came out at me.
The color commentary guy, I already forgot his name. Dan Kennedy, maybe. I've never heard this broadcast crew before. He's a goalkeeper. He used to play in MLS and other teams. But man, he was thirsty for that red card to be pulled, or second yellow to be pulled on Franco Escobar for that tackle that Franco made on the back.
Yeah.
But to me, it wasn't like persistent infringement in terms of like actual fouls. What did he get the yellow for? Just dissent?
I think it was dissent, yeah.
Yeah, but to say he's already on a yellow, he should get another dissent. I don't think you could bundle that in with persistent infringement in terms of tackling a guy. I mean, I don't know. I guess you could talk to Harris Medunian about it, or Bedoya, right? But
well, isn't that why Remedi got his card? Was because of dissent?
Yeah. But that guy was super, super thirsty for that. But then what did you guys think about the Amro Tariq tackle? Is that worthy of a red card to you?
I thought it was worthy of something. I don't know. Like I don't look at the way the games are officiated, and I wish everyone else would stop doing this. Like, sure, there are some moments where like, okay, you clearly made a bad call. For example, not giving Jeff Lorenowitz a red on VAR.
Yeah.
That's a bad call, objectively speaking.
You're just saying that because you tweeted it.
But I don't get worked up about this because I mean, ultimately, I don't think that the referee changed the outcome. Sure, there could have been a moment where Red Bulls could have gone down to 10 men, but there also could have been a moment where with Jeff's red, Atlanta could have been down 10 men. It honestly evened itself out. So,
well, he did.
Well, it goes back to what you were saying. Like, I think ultimately a draw is the best result that could have come out of that game.
But Jeff Lorenowitz did get a red card after the whistle.
After the game,
was so
I was so
weird.
I was so confused because at that point we'd already left the press box. We had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, I didn't know about it until I had gotten home off of the MARTA.
Yeah. So we get down. We find out that he got red carded, and I'm like, for what? The game was over. And I was like, there's no way they went back and reviewed that
sure enough
push shove thing. And I was like, there's no way. If that's what happened, then MLS and Pro are making things up as they go, because that's not how it's supposed to work.
As soon as stomped on a player,
as soon as the next play happens, you're supposed to just forget about it. Thankfully, that's what happened. And have you guys seen the video of him actually?
No, I didn't.
So he does actually stomp on
really?
whoever it is. I forget who it is.
No, I didn't know that.
But he does. It's like a shoving back and forth, and eventually Lorenzo is like, you know what? I've had enough of this. Pushes them, stomps, and they both go down. And that's what they reviewed. They apparently they had gone off the field, came back on, and coming back on, they gave Jeff the red.
Oh, well,
that's why I think I'm like, Jeff went in there looking to start something.
Oh yeah,
2 instances.
Yeah,
straight reds both times.
Yeah. So somebody had mentioned, aside from that, it wasn't related to him shoving people or anything like that. Michelle mentioned, why did he shove Mikey? He shoves Mikey out of the celebration after Joseph's goal.
That's
apparently,
a fun thing.
Yeah, apparently it's a fun thing where Mikey's always considered the younger brother at training and stuff like that, and Jeff is the sort of grandfatherly type, and so whenever he came up to celebrate, it was sort of a playful no, you can't participate.
So he pushed him hard.
He shoved the shit out of him.
I was like, bro,
he definitely did.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
But Emerson Heineman, is he ready? Is he ready to step in and replace Jeff Lorenowitz at least the
when do you bring him in?
Is Jeff going to get 1 or 3 game suspension? Is that considered violent conduct or no?
It's 1 confirmed.
I want to say it's just 1. It didn't.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like those lines have kind of blurred over the years. Where
not in my league.
I feel like that's not enough to give more than just 1.
I know, but you never know.
If it had been for the if they want to retroactively give him 3 game suspension for the shove, I'm cool with that. That
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
is well deserved.
Yeah.
When I saw it happen, I looked back. No one else had seen it.
At the fucking neck. Like
I
if
look-
he shoves him in the chest, it's one thing, but he deliberately hits it. He throat chokes it. Like
I look back at everyone else, and everyone else is typing. And I'm like, oh, Jeff's gone. That's a straight red for Jeff.
Yeah.
No one knows what I'm talking about, and I'm amazed that even after VAR, they still don't go to it. And then I remember thinking, yeah, they might retroactively go back and give him
It would be
suspension for that.
It would be kind of a disservice, though, based off of how many games Kaku got for his
true.
errant ball into the stands. I mean, he only got extra 2 games, I think,
Yeah.
suspension.
Yeah.
So 3 games total.
I mean, I hope it's just the one. That'd be nice. but
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like probably it will.
Play him against
You never know.
play him in Open Cup, knowing that he's going to be out for Seattle, and then get served the 1 game suspension in Seattle, and you're done.
wait, you play Jeff in
Open Cup.
can you do that? Can you
Yeah,
pick
it's
which
not-
game you want to play?
That happened
Well,
with.
it's not an MLS match.
We did that with
Why would
Franco.
you not
I want to say we did that
use
with Franco
suspension
Escobar.
can you use the
It's
suspension?
not
in
an
Open
MLS
Cup?
match, so you can't use it in Open Cup.
Oh, you can't.
He's suspended for MLS.
Interesting.
It's not like England where the FA
Play
is the
him in
governing.
Open. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
FA is governing body over everything in England. If you get
At
a
least-
red
at
card
least-
in one, you're suspended for both.
That's how I understand it works.
No.
If I'm wrong,
we
correct
did
me,
that
please.
earlier on in the season.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
Franco
yeah.
Escobar played when he was on a yellow card accumulation.
right.
He got to play in U.S. Open Cup. So
That's right.
I think we're fine. That's actually a good shout. I wouldn't mind seeing that happen. What do you guys expect on Wednesday? Win?
Yeah.
It's got to be right.
I mean,
I think if you lose, it's
if
God
you lose,
clearly
it's
loves-
Ambrose's fault.
Yeah, God clearly
That's gonna be
loves St.
Tim's
Louis.
point.
This is honestly, this is like the chance for St. Louis to shine. And when it comes to getting an MLS team in St. Louis, so I wouldn't be surprised if they won the game. I don't expect them to, but I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't be like oh my gosh, how do we lose this team? It'd be like, no, of course.
So when do you trot out a quote unquote starting lineup?
Well,
in Open Cup, is
sorry.
it this week or is it next? Whenever you make it to
oh no, St. Louis. I mean, you expect your
right.
B team,
Right.
if that's what you want
Right.
to call it. You expect them to be able to go in there, at least be competitive and put up a fight, and you would expect them to win.
So whenever you say B team, who's sitting in a B team?
It just depends. If Varco or Tio are healthy, I would put them in just for the sake of getting minutes and getting refreshed for Seattle.
So if
I
they're
would-
healthy, I'm more comfortable with sitting a Joseph.
I would play Pity as much as I don't want to.
Oh,
I would-
absolutely.
I would play
He's
Pity.
got to do something, right?
If Feynman's ready, I would play him.
That quick? I mean, it took Justin at least almost a month before he was starting, or at least getting play time in a new system.
Maybe some men. I see. I would play him.
I'm talking
for the
about
sake
starting
of-
lineup.
No, okay, sure. Yeah. Maybe not a starting lineup then.
Carlton in the 18. He was in the
he's
18 on Sunday.
Sure, great. Who cares?
Dion Pereira, I'd throw in there. Justin Merrim, honestly, I'd throw in there again.
Yeah, Justin needs play time right now because
I think Joseph is going to be chomping at the bit to play. I think he's going
Joseph needs to be in there.
I think Gressa will play.
Now,
More than anything, because I don't think there's anyone else that you can play him in that spot.
Well, if Tito's healthy, Tito goes
Sure,
in.
if Tito's healthy, yeah.
If Tito's healthy, he needs to be in over Gressel.
See, I think if Tito's healthy, I still think that because
Gressel starts and then he subs
because what's
back in.
Tito's injury? Hamstring?
Yeah.
So, I mean, because of the way he plays,
Yeah.
I would expect him to be more on the more. I would expect Frank DeBoer to be a little more cautious with him just because of the way he runs up and
Well,
down the field like that.
Yeah. Good news is he only gets injuries in training, so it's okay.
So we're covered.
We're good. Just take it easy at training before the next game. We'll be fine.
I do want to talk about yesterday.
What?
We won a fucking World Cup again.
Yeah.
Hoot hoot.
We fucking did.
Those
USA.
ladies brought that shit home. Was there ever any doubt
No.
from anyone other than Kelly Francis talking about how France was a favorite? Get
get out
out
of here.
of here.
But then
with that shit.
she's more than happy to post a gif of her dancing like Alex Morgan whenever they win. No, you can't have it both ways. No,
Yeah, you're not allowed to have it both ways.
can't do that.
Those ladies were outstanding
Not how it works.
yesterday.
That's why Dan's not here. You're
I was a little worried with Megan Rapinoe being put in there and playing her on the wing just because hamstring injury and expecting you could tell. I think she was a little cautious with some of those
especially
runs and
early on.
cut-ins. Yeah,
Early on for sure.
but man, if to me Julie Ertz is my MVP for the tournament, she was incredible. She was the rock. The fact that I wish that goal wouldn't have gotten saved yesterday. That friggin' volley that she had, that recovery on that rebound, that yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, it was a great cup to watch, man. And was it you or Dan that tweeted out about the expansion of the Women's
it was
World
me.
Cup?
Yeah,
Was it you?
It's expanded to 32 teams. I saw a little dissent about it, about how there aren't enough teams. Whatever it. If you look at the men's World Cup, how many viable teams are there really? Whenever you look at the 32 that are in there, I mean,
how many can't make it in, right? How many? You talk about one that was in a Gold Cup final last night, can't even make it into a World Cup.
Exactly. No, but I mean, if you're talking about teams that make it in constantly, like a Saudi Arabia, where they're always going to be a whipping post.
I think that you'd be giving women from other countries who maybe not be on the stage a chance to actually be on the stage and show what they can do. And I think knowing the competition isn't necessarily going to get better, this is part of, I think, the overall plan to maybe expand the women's game, to grow the women's game, to elevate the level of play in the women's game. And I think that'll all help over the course of time. Right away, it's gonna it's gonna have like a.
I feel the same way when we talk about
it's gonna have like a VAR type of type of effect where at first it's gonna be like, all right, well, some of these teams are getting killed 10-0.
Yeah.
Or 13-0.
But eventually,
or 31-0. I feel the same way when we talk about expanding college football playoff.
No, I thought you were talking about that time your high school team beat Lake City High School in South Carolina 31-0 because you guys were ruthless.
Never forget.
Yeah. They made a show about it called Cobra Kai. This is the argument that I would lay forward, where the Euro is a harder tournament to win than the World Cup in a lot of instances.
Oh, absolutely.
Because of how many European teams get left out of the World Cup because of pools.
But I think the bigger thing is that when you allow a lot more of these teams to get in, you're not necessarily forcing investment, but you're seriously encouraging investment in the game in these countries that maybe otherwise wouldn't invest because, let's be real, there's not a chance that they're going to make it. So a team like Thailand, if they know that it's more likely that they are than not to get in, maybe they'll invest more money. That'll grow the game even more. That'll elevate the level of play. Again, it'll take time, but it's not going to happen. In the next 4 years, you're not going to see this grand progression of style of plays and whatever. It's going to take decades, but eventually it gets to the point where it'll get there a lot faster than it is now.
Yeah,
it'll get to the point where the United States maybe isn't the best team in the world year in and year out, game in and game out.
Well, I mean, you're already seeing that progression now. I mean, over the past 16 years, it's been, is the U.S. going to win it? Is Germany going to win it? Is China going to win it? Is Japan going to win it? It's really those four teams. Yeah. And then to see the progression, you saw, I mean, the fact that Netherlands made it all the way to the final. France, I know they were a host city or a host team. The fact that they made it as far as they did. Sweden, obviously, Sweden's usually a pretty good team making it that far. But Spain, I mean, Spain making it almost taking us to extra time. And I think it's great. And I think there was also, I don't know what's confirmed in terms of pay, but that's also going to be a big part of it in terms of increasing pay, leveling pay.
That I want to stand on a soapbox for just a second. And it's weird because we're on a podcast right now with three white males that are talking about equal
I almost feel like I'm not allowed to talk about this.
Exactly. But I feel like
strange.
We need to, because it is a point that needs to be made. While I agree with the equal pay and everything that the results stand for with the Women's World Cup and everything like that, what necessitates change in those are individuals putting butts in seats and paying to go to games whenever it's not the World Cup finals.
Shout out to Budweiser.
So while this World Cup has been great and all the support and the 25,000 fans that went out to France and traveled to go to those games and go to that final is great. These women are playing, Alex Morgan playing with Orlando Pride week in and week out. Like, you need to go to these games and support these women whenever they're playing at their regular clubs and at the international stage whenever you get the chance to. That's the only way to answer Joe Johnstone's point about Atlanta getting a women's team. Atlanta's had a women's team multiple times, and it's failed because there's not been the support and buy-in by a fan culture and outreach to sustain the player's salary and what it takes to sustain a club like Atlanta United or whatever it may be. So while I agree in principle,
you got me real nervous at that for a second talking about that until you came around to your point.
I'm fucking freaking out right now. But like I said, I totally
It's
agree.
a feeling I'm very familiar with.
I totally agree with equal pay, but it is a call to arms that we all share, that if we want that to happen, we need to necessitate change in our actions rather than our hashtags, which means putting butts in seats, buying tickets to games other than the World Cup finals every 4 years.
Do you guys see what Budweiser did?
No, I did not.
They're a sponsor of the NWSL now.
That's fucking awesome.
Yep.
That's really awesome.
That's great.
So essentially what Kevin is saying is these women deserve to be paid a ton more than they're getting paid
Absolutely.
now. And more, if not, or the same, if not more than the men's team, especially based on merit recently. But practice what you preach, get into the stadiums,
Right.
actually give the funds to NWSL and USSF to actually pay these women.
Eric wants to disagree.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to. No, I don't disagree. I just, what are we talking about though? Are we talking about more money in NWSL at the club stage? Or are we talking about more money at the World Cup? Because of the two different things.
That's true. It's very true.
Completely agree. So,
because do we want the women to get a higher ratio of the overall money that's given to the teams from the World Cup itself?
no, not necessarily. I mean, it's
The same.
It's
Yeah.
We want the same.
Yeah.
Right now, the women actually get more for their World Cup.
really.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
It's like 13% to like the men's 7%. Now the men get
but
more money.
I was going to
because
say
of the-
because
they
of
bring
the
in-
buy-in.
because they-
again,
they-
which
they-
ultimately goes back to what I'm talking
Sure,
about.
they generate much more revenue than
Right,
men do.
right.
But ultimately, the women get more of the pie.
But that's
from their
only.
World
But
Cup.
that's only to try to get back to some status of equilibrium, which is based on putting butts in the seats ultimately.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that they don't deserve more. They don't.
Yeah.
They certainly. If nothing else, everything else around the team, the accommodations, the pitches they play on, the per diems, all that should be the same. If that's different in any way,
Right.
that's absolutely wrong.
Because at a certain level, this is considered amateur competition, right? I mean, if you're talking about on a national stage,
We also
playing for your country.
Yeah, we also have to think about how exactly the women get paid versus the men. The women's salaries are guaranteed up to a certain point. The men's aren't. If you're not on the roster, you're not getting paid.
Right.
Some of the women, if you're on the roster, you're getting paid whether you play, you don't play. You're not. I'm not saying all of them, but a majority of them have contracts where whether they play or not, they're guaranteed a certain amount of money. And it's like at the very least like $77,000.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a ton. I'm not saying that makes up.
No,
that's
yeah,
not, I'm not saying
absolutely.
it's equal, but I'm saying
Absolutely.
this is something that they agreed to. There's got to be a let's deal with the actual issues as opposed to just throwing out we want equal pay. Let's actually talk about what the circumstances are as opposed to just assuming that we're talking about apples to apples here.
But let's talk about where the money's coming from.
One apple is getting rinsed off, the other one's being covered in dirt. That's not what's happening.
Absolutely. And again, all of that money comes from somewhere. Atlanta United doesn't pay for a $15 million player without having the season ticket revenue and people in concessions and
Shirt sponsors.
a multimillionaire backer in club ownership and everything else with a front office and everything else any more than some of the other major teams around the world do. And the same thing goes for national teams and getting these players the incentive to continue what they're doing week in and week out in regular season play or international play, because ultimately regular season play is the step up and the spotlight to shine in an international play. And if you're not supporting those teams week in and week out, you can't expect results every 4 years in an international stage. So if you want that to take place, we need to incentivize and encourage those players and those women who rightfully deserve every cent of those incentives by people showing out, showing support, buying Rapinoe kits and buying everything else that goes along with it.
Can I go conspiracy theory on you guys real quick?
Sure.
So Budweiser just announced, I think it was today, that they're going to be an official sponsor of NWSL. Obviously, they're based out of St. Louis. So I have a feeling, and because I forget exactly how
2023,
because some MLS are somehow involved in this in terms of how these negotiations came about. And I think there's some money being whatever. So there's some kind of transactions happening between the two. I think at some point you're absolutely going to see a team in St. Louis.
Really?
because of the money behind Budweiser and what they could do for MLS.
I thought you were gonna. I thought you were getting at.
I think ultimately they want MLS. That's why. I mean, part of the other aspect of it is obviously a good look.
Yeah,
and a good cause.
For some reason, my mind went to the fact that we still don't know who's hosting the 2023 World Cup.
right.
Women's World Cup.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's very strange.
I had no idea.
It's very strange. We have the next two hosts for the men's World Cup.
Just not on turf.
Well,
That's all I care about.
Well, it's funny you say that. You notice that, and maybe I read the tweet wrong, but Mercedes-Benz and Atlanta United mentioned that the watch party at the Benz was going to be featured in some of the cut twos for fan viewing during the.
It was
right.
Unless they're putting grass over that.
You
make the girls.
You
play
want
on-
to talk about conspiracy theories? I think everybody's trying to vie for a hosting role as it relates to.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. It just if you make those girls play on turf, I think everyone's gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to roll out the grass for the World Cup in
I hope so.
2026.
Yeah. Yeah. You would think so.
Oh no, that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You would think you would do the same, right? You're not talking about
I mean,
equal play. We're talking about equal pay. You're not talking about equal
4
play.
years ago, you forced
Talking
the
about
girls.
equal pay, but not equal play. Is that what you're saying?
4 years ago, you forced the girls to play on all artificial surfaces. So I'm
Yeah,
just saying
I feel you.
it's not like it
No,
hasn't
I got
happened
you.
before.
I got you. Well, Eric, thanks so much, man, for coming out.
Yeah, man.
This has been a lot of fun.
It's been too long.
Could go another hour at this
Yeah.
rate. It's been way too long. Full disclosure, we texted you and Josh, but we were both pulling for you.
Yeah,
to
Josh
answer
said
the
that. I was
call.
like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna be on Home Before Dark." He goes, "Oh yeah, they asked me first." Well, fuck you, Josh.
What a
Fuck you, Josh.
dickhead. To
We
be
asked
fair-
both of you.
To be fair, we didn't text.
I wanna-
Those read receipts came from Tim's phone, not mine.
I want to invite you.
He didn't want Ambrose to play.
I
Who are you
want
going to believe?
to invite you guys on the radio show, but here's the problem.
No, you have, and I'm
And
the
you guys say
problem.
no.
No, that's not it. No,
No. The
I'm the problem. This is the problem.
the issue is, the issue is we obviously can't use profanity. We can do it. We can do it technically on the podcast. We just don't. We obviously can't do it on the radio show.
We could be tame.
We do have a 30-second delay though, so
I can be tame. I can be tame.
I think we can catch it in 30 seconds.
No, I'll be good.
Yeah.
I can be good. Dude,
I'm going to slip some ones in you guys don't even
if
know
I could,
about.
if
Just
I
whisper
couldn't,
them in the microphone.
if I couldn't be professional, I wouldn't be able to go to work on a regular basis.
I'm
I'm not
gonna,
recording
you
a
know,
podcast.
No, I'm going to call in. Have you guys ever seen those C-SPAN prank calls?
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like,
It's my dream.
excuse me, am I on the air? Yes. Fuck. That's all I say. It's just fuck. Click.
No, yeah, we definitely need to get something to happen. We haven't actually been on a show with you guys. You guys have always come over
Yeah.
here.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think the only show we've done together is the Soccer in the Streets.
Oh yeah, we did
before
the
the All-Star game.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. That's
the
right.
only thing we've done together as
Yeah.
like a group.
Yep. Yeah, that was
We'll
a
get
fun
us set up.
night, man. We need to get you guys
Josh
out
is
to play.
Josh is going to be coaching more come I think August. So
We need to get you
You
guys
guys
out
are
to
first
play
on the list.
too at the station soccer.
let's do it. You know what?
Um,
I would love to. I can't do all that running back and forth.
we saw that last
I'm the
year.
same way, dude.
CrossFit's not all
Saw
about
that-
the suicides.
Yeah, we saw that last year. I don't expect it to change. I'm just kidding.
I feel like I'm going to die every time I play out there.
That's the best part.
No.
You
It's
gotta
the
earn
euphoric feeling after
Exactly.
you died.
gotta earn it. You gotta earn that shit.
Just that feeling of dejection, whenever you're driving home, it just feels so good to feel so
Like, why is
shitty about how
Kevin
you
mad
play.
at me? Why is Kevin mad at me? I'm sorry. I swear to God, every fucking week I get a text from Tim. I'm sorry, man. I let you down. It's basically like played like shit. I'm sorry. I let you down, coach.
Yep. That's pretty much my everyday, every
Every relationship you have in your life. I'm sorry, I let you down.
sorry I let you down. It's my catchphrase.
With that, in closing, thank you guys for tuning in. We're sorry we let you down tonight, as usual.
We need to get a banner for that.
Yeah, sorry I let you down. Sorry to disappoint.
I'm still waiting for the hashtag blame Eric signs to go around around
yeah.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Can I just say you were like the most unjustly maligned person in the Atlanta United
I do
community?
it to myself.
Look,
Can I tell you why I tweeted out what I tweeted out?
Yes.
Okay. If you missed it, all you guys on YouTube land, we were up 2-1, and I tweeted out, prepare to be disappointed. And it's because we kept losing the battle in the midfield. And
Yeah.
of course, I walk into that interview. The first thing DeBoer says is, "We subbed Pity out because he just kept losing stuff. He wasn't winning anything. He wasn't doing anything in the midfield. He wasn't winning duels. He wasn't doing anything." And of course, that perpetuated kind of went through the rest of the team. And I was like, "This is not going to end well for me tonight."
Yeah.
We were up for as long as we were, but my gosh, it was just
Kendrick Brock bringing the fire. Can we redirect Eric hate at Rob Usry?
Well, I was going to mention before we jump to Rob Usry, speaking of Kendrick Brock,
I believe it's pronounced Usry.
Usry?
Usry.
well, I
Usry.
wouldn't know. I'm pretty sure he muted us a long time ago. If you take a look, if you can move that remote for me, Tim, so that Eric can get a good look at one of the last lines of text on our scarf. These are all user submitted,
Oh
one of
my
which
gosh.
came by our very own Kendrick Brock.
Fuck you, dude. For real? Is it on this side?
No,
it's
just on one side, yeah. Oh.
This is like official too. Like I can't.
It's officially official.
Kendrick Brock.
Eric was, I think, the first guest that we had on the show, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's me and Jay, right? Both of us at the same time, maybe?
No, I think we had you on before you and Jay came on together,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, because I had to fucking man the ship by myself with you two back when I was in my place.
Yeah, I was
that's
out.
right.
I was out in California
Yeah.
whenever that happened.
So, plugs. What you got?
Follow me at Eric G. Quintana on Twitter at MOTS Podcast. We do a radio show every Wednesday on Atlanta Sports X, 12:30 a.m., 1340 a.m., 106.3 FM, 103.7 FM. So if you can't find us on any of those 4 channels, I don't think you know how to work a radio.
But
if you
even
still
if they
have a
can't-
radio.
I was gonna say, even if they can't find you on radio,
Dude,
everything
I
goes
just, I
up
just
on-
go and sit in my car and just close the garage, turn it on, and
Put-
listen to Mouse of the South.
See, I do the
this.
same thing, but I like to hook up a garden hose to my exhaust and then run it around into my window, roll it up.
We call that hotboxing where I'm from.
It's
go
not
into
safe.
a good,
not safe, everyone.
go into a good deep Quintana deep sleep.
So that's Wednesdays. Wednesdays, 7:00. Typically, we'll have a podcast afterwards. I know this week with the U.S. Open Cup, we'll probably have some kind of a post-game reaction show on YouTube. Our YouTube page is MOTS Podcast if you want to find it there. And always be checking out Dirty South Soccer for all the news
battery
and notes
exhausted.
regarding Atlanta United.
Just in time.
All the people know where to find you at, man. Did you say your personal Twitter and
Yeah,
all of that
we're good.
madness? Okay,
We're
great.
good.
I lost track at that point. Thank you guys for finding us at Home Before Dark on Twitter. That's where we've all given up on personal Twitters and everything at
Oh,
this
yeah.
point. So
I
before
like
spelled
hiding behind that.
Home Before Dark, before spelled B and the number 4. Thank you guys for tuning in. However you found us, be sure to like or subscribe and tell a friend. Until next time, as always, be home before dark.